In one of my previous videos, I spilled the beans about the time I obliterated my first trading account. How, you ask? Well, it involved me doing silly things like attempting to trade something that I've never traded before, getting fixated, and, well, basically I married a position. Why, you might wonder? Well, because at the time my accuracy was actually well over 80% and my average risk reward was a massive 3.9 R multiples, so it's safe to say then my confidence soared to overconfidence. I started to believe in my invincibility like I'm some kind of a trading wizard, but that illusion came shattering down very quickly. So some people wanted to know, how did I recover from that? How did I get back into trading? Because some people never recovered from a loss like that. Before I start, don't forget to subscribe and click all notifications because, as you know, I don't have a regular upload schedule and I don't want to have one. Also, YouTube is a little bit temperamental for smaller channels when it comes to regular notifications. Therefore, if you don't want to miss any of my new videos, you really need to click on all notifications. All right, so in the days following the big loss, I couldn't even go near my trading desk without cold sweat kind of coming over me. Losing that first account was like experiencing a death of some sort. All the work that I've done, all the amazing trades that I found and saw through till the end, wiped out because of my actions. I malfunctioned. Nobody else to blame. And my fight or flight response went into complete overdrive. So I actually stopped trading for full 3 months. After the 3 months, I decided to open up a demo account to basically start from scratch. And then another month of trading on a demo, I decided to put another 2K into my account and I started with like the smallest of positions. Never mind like 1% per trade. It was like 0.01%. Absolute smallest position that I could have. It was there just to make me build up my confidence again. Unfortunately, as soon as any of my setups would come along, I would turn into a mess, psychologically. Overwhelming fear, hands shaking. It was, it's just not workable. So I started looking into the biology of trauma and the biology of fight or flight response. I was trying to understand a way to combat what I was feeling, because obviously I didn't want that experience to repeat ever again. And what I found was that doing something physical, whenever you start experiencing the whole heart pounding and fear coming over you, you actually need to stop whatever you're doing, try to glue yourself away from the trading desk, and then deplete the fuel that kicks off the fight or flight response. Now, in my case, I actually went a little bit too far with that. I found that in order to go back to trading really rationally without fear, I had to do like a torturous, full-on weightlifting workout where I would be totally wiped out by the end of it, like barely able to stand. My hands were just like noodles, right? And then I was ready to trade. The first month back was the hardest, obviously. At one point, I couldn't even look at my office door without being afraid. But it started to get better. As I started to work out before I trade, with each day, I started making good trading decisions again. So I raised my confidence level. The fear slowly started to happen less and less. And then I also found comfort in reviewing my own trades and looking at my stats, either from like that particular week, but also from the time when I was doing well, just to compare how I was doing then versus what I'm doing right now. Knowing my strengths, knowing which setups worked and how many times they failed as well. And also looking at the trades that have blown up my account to understand exactly where I went wrong. At which point I started to see when did I start losing the plot and how did that look technically, just in like numbers wise. And it was pretty revealing. So it started with a brand new product that I've never done before. Didn't do any backtesting or anything. I just went straight into live. Up until that point, I only traded euro-dollar. And this time, I tried trading the yen pairs. I didn't know how they move. I wasn't even sure what a pip was in a yen. Like, that's never a good sign, And then I lost one trade on the basis of a broken demand level. And it was on a 4-hour chart. But in my head, I was like, oh, it's still nested in a weekly and daily demand. And that weekly demand was absolutely massive. So I tried again immediately, which I never did before. That trade lost too. I tried the third and a fourth trade. Now, at that point, I was so out of character for the type of a trader that I was back then. I should have recognized that I needed to stop, but I didn't because I was a novice trader. So anyways, the next day, after these 4 lost trades, I decided I'm going to widen the stop to cover the entire weekly area, but I didn't lower the position size to reflect that. Yay. So those were the things that I never repeated again. Knowing those triggers, knowing my triggers and the exact steps that I took in this like days of frustration, uncertainty, and lack of knowledge. So I actually put some of those triggers on post-it notes, which I actually still have, right? Like I still have post-it notes all over the place. But obviously there's some other things that I'm working on now, what was it, like 13 years after the big loss happened. So for me, the 2 biggest things that made me recover from the loss successfully and then to skyrocket my 2K all the way to 250K in the next 2 years was weightlifting until I'm dead before I trade. And then obviously understanding the exact triggers that led me to losing control. And then staying away from all of those triggers, being mindful when you do begin to lose control. And then also actually being proactive. So forcing myself to stand up, to move away from the screen if I took a full 1R loss. 1R, if you're new here, it's not 1 hour, it's 1R. 1R represents full initial risk taken. And that I try not to do too often these days, if you've watched some of my daily live streams. If I'm clearly wrong, and if a trade goes against me in the first sort of couple of minutes, and then it goes straight to like minus 0.5 R in that first minute or deeper, I just take it off. I don't marry the trade, okay? After that, I spend a little bit of time objectively looking at the events without emotions, which now I can do, but back then it really wasn't easy. However, self-discipline and control is something that can be practiced. It's a skill like any other. So if you have also suffered a big loss as a result of failing to follow your rules, allowing your limbic system to kind of just take over your trading decisions, I would highly suggest that you implement these steps. Weightlifting before you trade, stepping away from the screen when you take a full loss, and giving your body a physical project to work on. Anything to kind of shuffle that adrenaline into a physical workout rather than your profit or loss on the day. That's all for now. Feel free to tell me in the comments if you've suffered a loss. Have you recovered? Are you still recovering? I might be able to help. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, let's try to be less Muppet and more Market Stalker with every passing day. Goodbye.